So coming into the 2015 paper, question number 43, which is the only combination of price change that must result in a deterioration in the TOT. Ayyo, easy lamai. When they say TOT, what are they referring to? Commodity terms of trade. That is what? Export price index divided by import price. So which one of this will definitely reduce our TOT? We'll see. Export prices fall, import prices rise. Can be, our TOT will come down. So this can be our answer. This is the 44th question. So make a correction then in the past paper, this must be the 44th. Export prices fall, this falls? No. Rises, falls? No, that will increase. Rises, can't definitely say it will come down. Remains unchanged, falls? Again, no. Yes, you can put some numbers and see, but I think you don't have to use numbers, right? You can use your basic common sense here. If the numerator falls and the denominator increases, TOT will come down. Maybe if your approach is to put some numbers and see. But you have to be careful when you're putting numbers. Okay? Number 4. Then lamai, see. Yes, deterioration means decrease. 44. Under a flexible exchange rate system, which of the following should increase the rupee price of the US dollar? Now, I be very careful with this. Okay. Increase the rupee price of the US dollar. Increase in the rupee price of the US dollar. So earlier, 1 US dollar rupee price was 200. Now, 1 US dollar rupee price is how much? Earlier, 1 US dollar rupee price is 200. Now they are saying increase the rupee price. So now let's say, for example, 300. So did you figure out how I read the question? They are saying which of the following should increase the rupee price of the dollar? So earlier rupee price of the dollar is 200. Now increase the rupee price. So now, for example, 300. So then tell me, Lamai, is this an appreciation or a depreciation of the LKR? What is this? Has the appreciated or depreciated? LKR has depreciated. So always, Lamai, when you get a question like this, you need to think that way, okay? And you need to figure out that. And the US dollar has appreciated. Okay. Based on that, now tell me, why do you think the LKR would have depreciated? Number 1, rate of inflation greater in the United States than Sri Lanka. If in the US, if inflation is greater, then we won't buy anything from US. Our imports will come down. They will buy our goods. Our exports will increase. That will not depreciate, that will appreciate our currency. National income increases greater in the US. If USA's national income increases, remember we have learned there is a connection between national income and imports. So in US, if the national income increases, they will import more. And then US dollar won't appreciate. No, US dollar will then depreciate. Wrong. Increase preference of US citizens for Sri Lankan garments. Do you think that is correct? US citizens will prefer Sri Lankan garments now. Our rupee has depreciated. Will they prefer? Is it cheaper for them? Quickly give me an answer. Our LKR has depreciated. So now it's cheaper for them. No? It's way cheaper for them, right? Earlier, if they want to buy a thing, see, it's more cheap, right? Therefore, you can go with number 3. Guys, I see from the answers and stuff that I get from the chat box, I feel some of you all still lack a little bit of basic theory in this area. Please go back if you were there in okay, this is the 45th question in the paper. Okay, please go back to your theory tudes and please go through. I'll come back to the others. Okay, These are not hard ones, lamai. These are things that are directly there in your tudes. If you were there in my theory class, please go back, watch the recording. Okay. Number 4, substantial reduction of imports coming to Sri Lanka from United States. Reduction in imports. Can that be the answer? Substantial means a considerable amount. Okay, we'll leave that there. 5th one says real interest rate increases in US. That can also be an answer. Now, can you see if I type the question correctly? If the following should increase the, can someone check the past paper book? Have I typed the question correctly? I think they have made a mistake then, no? Under a flexible, I think these are appreciation of the LKR then. Under flexible exchange rate system, which of the following should increase the rupee price of the US dollar? Ideally, increase the rupee price of the US dollar means that's a depreciation, right? Rupee price, that's how you logically read, no? Earlier, the rupee price of a dollar is 200. Now the rupee price is 300 of a dollar. Now rupee price is 300. So this has to be a depreciation of the LKR. So these people have reworded it a little wrong. There should have been a free mark awarded in this. Okay. So this ideally, we will consider this as, for this question purpose, we will consider this as, I'll go through the other answers, Lamai. I'm not going into very basics, hoping that you all know this. I'll go through the other answers also. LKR would have appreciated. We'll try it this way and say, okay, we'll go each of these answers, Lamai. We'll go one by one. Tell me what will happen. Answer number 1. Rate of inflation in US is greater. Tell me. If US inflation is high, okay, will anyone buy goods from USA? Will anyone buy USA's exports? No. USA's exports will come down. No one will buy USA's exports. What will USA do? If their country is expensive, they will try to buy cheaper goods from other countries, no? So USA will import more from other countries. So if USA is exporting less and importing more, what happens to the US dollar? Appreciates or depreciates? US dollar depreciates. On the other side, if the US dollar depreciates, what can you tell about the LKR? LKR will appreciate. That's how you think of the first one. Okay. Then Lamai, number 2. National income increases greater in the US than Sri Lanka. So in USA, if their national income increase, remember Lamai, I have taught you all in unit number 6, there is a connection between national income and imports. In a country, if national income increases, what happens to imports? Their imports will increase. Remember, imports are equal to, for example, 200 plus 0.1y. If your y increases, imports will increase. So in USA, if national income is increasing, USA's imports will increase. So if USA's imports are increasing, what will happen to the US dollar? Will it appreciate or depreciate? US is now importing more and more goods. That means US dollar will depreciate. They are importing, no? And then what happens to the LKR then? LKR will appreciate. That's number 2. Then number 3, they are saying increased preference of US citizens for Sri Lankan government. So, if US citizens, see, this is how you read it. There is no mistake in the question. Question is correct. If US citizens prefer Sri Lankan governments, what will happen, Lamai? That means Sri Lanka's exports will increase. You all agree with me? Feel increase preference of US citizens for Sri Lankan garments. US people like our garments. So therefore, Sri Lanka's exports will increase. USA's imports will increase. So then what happens to the US dollar and the Sri Lankan rupee? USA is importing, we are exporting. So therefore, US dollar depreciates, Sri Lankan rupee, LKR, appreciate. Okay. Guys, the second one is like the third time I went through. I'll come to it after class if you have a doubt. Okay. Fourth one, a substantial reduction in imports coming to Sri Lanka. So Sri Lankan imports have come down. What do you think? If Sri Lanka's imports have come down, Sri Lankan rupee will appreciate. LKR will appreciate because we are not importing. What will happen to the US dollar? US dollar will depreciate. So answer 1, 2, 3, 4, all of it talks about LKR appreciating, US dollar depreciating. We look at number 5. Number 5 says real interest rate increases greater in the United States than Sri Lanka. What will happen, Lava? In USA, if interest rates increase, what will people do? Will people like to invest in Sri Lanka or invest in US? If the interest rates in United States increase, where will they want to invest, Lava? People would love to invest in USA, no? Because USA is giving a higher interest rate. Sri Lanka is giving 5%, USA is giving 10%. So then what happens? Then the US dollar will appreciate. Everyone is going and putting their money in USA because USA's interest rates are US dollar appreciating, Sri Lankan rupee will depreciate. So we are looking at an answer, right? The question is correct. Question is not wrong. We are looking at an answer where LKR will depreciate, US dollar will appreciate. So should be answer number 5. Can someone reconfirm the past paper book? Does it say 5? Imports increase in S7. No, interest rate won't connect with imports. Now, see, makes sense, right? Now, see, yes, this is a very good question where you get to think in lot of different angles. So, have an idea. When interest rate increases, investment decreases. No. So, when interest rate increase, more and more people will go and invest in Sri Lanka, in that country, right? We are talking about financial market interest rates. We are talking about foreign money flowing. So, in USA, if interest rates increase, everyone will love to go and put their money in USA. Right? Fourth point again, just to summarize, reduction in imports. So if Sri Lankan imports fall, if Sri Lanka is importing less, means our rupee will appreciate, right? And dollar will decrease. We are importing less. So Lamai, I'm not going into very basic theory over here. I'm hoping that you all have learned the theory because otherwise it becomes very difficult to do past papers. If you all were there in my classes, please go back, watch the recordings. Every recording from day 1 is there on your website. Please watch it and get that covered. It's not a very hard area. Real interest rate increase? No, not really. Inflation is coming down. Don't go to that level. Right. How do you all do so far? Anyone got 45 correct? This question? With some proper logic? Yes. At least learn from this, put a star and keep. Remember, I have told you how to put stars and keep on the difficult questions. Day before the level, these are the ones that you go through. Okay, so 2015, there were 2 questions. Ending.